Okay. And so my name is Tishinga Fred Mbonderi. I'm an epilepsy advocate and a mental health advocate. And today I'm going to be your host. And I was diagnosed with mild partial epilepsy in 2010. And from there on, that has been me. My seizures are under control anyway, but I'm pushing the motive that everyone's seizures should be under control in the near future through medication, through mental health, anything that is possible to make everything okay. So right now we're supposed to have the president making introductions and speaking about the day. Is he around? I can see him.
I think we only have a vice president, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you hear me? The screen just
Yes,
went blank from my side.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yes.
All right. So, Dr. Rugari, can you please make the welcome remarks? Because I cannot see Mr. Kaziti anyway.
Thanks for that, Tashinga. I'm hoping maybe one of the vice presidents is in here to give welcome remarks.
All right.
If there isn't, then I'm happy to do it. Samuel, are you able to check who is in the room?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Do you know if one of the vice presidents is in?
Yes, we have Inacio Quembo from Mozambique, the president for Southern Africa.
Yes. If you could ask them to give welcome remarks. I can also see Chantel,
Okay.
who has a position higher than me. We could also check with Chantel.
All right.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
Dr. Mugumbate, I think as I've arrived now, I'm not in a position. So maybe you take it over for welcome remarks.
Okay, so Chantel, you can take it away.
Okay, let's miss. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this trip week, which is Indaba Voice. And Indaba Voice, as we say, we get a lecture from Dr. Mugambate that it is a culture of Africa to meet with everyone who represents the royal family, used to meet and create. Indaba is like a group of people who are trying to sort out the issues of the community. So regard this strip week is an issue of the community and the stigmatization faced by people suffering for seizures in Africa. I'm pleased to see many people increase participant and even willing to change the concept, the misconception about epilepsy as a contagious disease. And I'm very happy to see now a youth young team which organized this strip week to move forward. This is the second time. The first be also organized by the group of Tachinga and other youth, include us, the adults. But I'm giving you your calendar to explain exactly what are you going to present to this trip week. And we thank you as members of the board executive of the Epilepsy Alliance Africa to commit hard and to push this agenda forward and promote the awareness about epilepsy, the advocacy, and everything regarding the publication and also the medical task. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Can Chiku, can you continue, please? Yeah.
All right, thank you. First time, I would like to ask Samuel to first introduce us. Before we have the Strikes Week webinar, what we do is we have the Stories Initiative, where we're sharing the stories of people with epilepsy throughout the world. So Sam will just give us a short introduction and explain to us what that all is about. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Chiku. My name is Samuel Chigamba. I'm the Secretary General for the Alliance. And as Chiku mentioned, I'm here to talk about the Stories Initiative. The Stories Initiative was born shortly after Strikes Week was initiated by the Epilepsy Alliance Africa. A group of young men and women decided to share their lived experiences through sharing their stories. As a person with epilepsy, we go through so many challenges on a daily basis. And looking at the challenges that we face, most of them do come because people do not understand what epilepsy is. So we wanted to share this story so that the world can understand what epilepsy is. And also wanted to motivate other people with epilepsy. There are people with epilepsy out there who do not want to come out. They don't want people to know that they have epilepsy. We started sharing the stories on the 1st of September, and we noted that people started getting, they started being comfortable. We started receiving stories from different countries across the continent, just because they saw stories that were shared by other people and they became comfortable. That's what we wanted. And we hope that as the years goes by, more people will start to come out and they won't be afraid of seizures, they won't be afraid of epilepsy. They won't be afraid to say that they have epilepsy. Also, these stories are aimed to motivate parents, carers, even the society. For example, last year we have people with epilepsy who are doing the bachelor's degree, master's degree, and we also have people who are married. It's the same with this year. We had people who are doing the college education. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to demystify the myths surrounding epilepsy, and also show the world, show people that as person with epilepsy, yes, we can. That's why the Stories Initiative was initiated. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Samuel, for that. Thank you so much for that. I hope we're all attentive to what he was saying, and it's really a good initiative, and it can actually help us be able to raise more awareness across the globe. So the next thing on the agenda is from our guest speaker, Christy Zimba. She is from the Disability Rights Front, and I'll leave it to her to introduce herself to you. Christy, you can take it away. We can't hear you, Chrissy. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, hi, sorry. You know, the technology and all that, yeah. So I was saying, thank you so much, Tashinga, for inviting me, and turn off my video because of my unstable internet connection. I don't think I'll be able to keep my video on for a long time. Yeah, so to the president of Epilepsy Alliance Africa, who is in absentia, Taurai Kazwiti, to the Secretary General for Epilepsy Alliance Africa, Samuel Chigamba, Stripes Week Chair, Chikrupiriro Ngombe, Seizure Assistant, Bright Bwalia, our esteemed presenters, Hassan Jibo Fatmata, who is a neurologist, neurophysiologist, and also epileptologist. And I don't know if Leslie Donnelly is also on the call, and then to Shanto, and our facilitator Tashinga Mubondere. All organizations that are present here today on this webinar and everyone attending this webinar. I should start by saying I salute you all for starting this initiative. And it's such an honor for me to be here today, courtesy of an invitation by Mr. Samuel Chigamba and the Epilepsy Alliance Africa. So as Tashinga has mentioned, Chrissy, I work as a program officer for the Disability Rights Fund, DRIF, and also the Disability Rights Advocacy Fund, DRIF for Malawi. I would like to begin by saying no one can raise awareness better on issues affecting persons with epilepsy than persons with epilepsy themselves. So for this, I thank you all for this initiative to celebrate and raise awareness and share stories of epilepsy in respective countries in Africa. So as the other speakers has said, epilepsy is the most complex and serious neurological condition, and prevalence rate is 11.29 per 1,000 population in sub-Saharan Africa. And throughout the ages, epilepsy has been a misunderstood condition, and the perceptions, the fears, and stigma still exist within the parts of our community and in Africa today. So although most people with epilepsy do live with near normal lives, as Samuel Chigamba alluded earlier, there are quite a few burdens that are associated with the condition, and it affects persons with epilepsy in so many ways. And such difficulties are in education, accessing education, employment, and also financial constraints, and so on and so forth. Although there are medications that are existing for epilepsy, but they are only used to treat and not cure epilepsy. And social isolation is still a reality for some people that are living with epilepsy, and this can be seen as a barrier for them to access employment. And those that are affected by epilepsy whilst they're at school, they've been bullied or teased and end up leaving school with few or no qualification at all. So therefore, it is very important that we need to raise awareness tirelessly about epilepsy and to help in stopping stigma and to advocate for the help and support that is required for people with epilepsy to be able to enjoy their lives and also rights to the fullest. So the organization that I'm working with, the DRF and DRAF, is dedicated to supporting a disability inclusive development that will leave no one behind. And we do this by building movement, and we believe that strong movement that extends from local to global levels is the cornerstone for rights to be recognized and also achieved. So we do support organizations of persons with disabilities themselves to advocate for the commitments that leave no one behind through providing grants. We also provide technical assistance and also advocacy. So we also help in building the capacity of the disability movement so they can advance rights and also inclusion of persons with disabilities. So the rights of persons with disabilities are achieved through systems change, such as changes in legislation, the policies, development of policies, and government and also development programs. And this does not leave out the budgeting, because budgeting is the most important aspect, and we make sure that budgeting is in accordance with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and that no one is left behind. So since 2008, the DRF and also the DRAF has resourced the disability movement in 38 countries around the world and in Africa. Currently, DRF is working in Rwanda, Nigeria, Uganda, Malawi, and Ghana. And those are just countries within Africa, but we are also working in Myanmar, the Pacific Islands, Haiti, and Haiti. So the funds that grant making in Malawi has contributed to has been building a more diverse disability movement by resourcing both the national and grassroots organizations that has represented emergent and also marginalized groups, such as persons with albinism, youth with disabilities, persons with deaf blindness, persons with epilepsy, women and girls with disabilities, and also persons with disabilities that are in rural areas where in most cases resources do not reach. This focus on diversification has strengthened the inclusivity and also the efficacy of Malawi's disability movement. And the type of projects that have been supported so far has been advocating for policy and legislative changes for the National Employment Act. We've also supported the changing of the civil code to protect persons with intellectual disabilities. We've also supported the revision of the Handicapped Persons Act to the National Disability Act. We've supported the education strategy, the inclusive education policy, the national health law, among others. We have also supported advocacy for access to justice for persons with albinism, advocacy for inclusive public procurement processes, and also lobbying for the replacement of the Handicapped Act that I've already mentioned, and also supporting participation of organizations of persons with disabilities to monitor the implementation of the CRPD, including drafting of alternative reports, participation in the universal periodical reviews, advocacy for the government to submit the CRPD report, advocating for representation of women with disabilities in area and village development committees, and also advocating for the inclusion of epileptic drugs as essential drug to be found at every district hospital, including health centers. So I'm proud to say this one, we supported Epilepsy Warriors Foundation, that is represented on this call by Mr. Chigamba and Mr. Ngombe. So this year alone, in Malawi, we are funding more than 15 organizations of persons with disabilities, and Epilepsy Warriors Foundation being one of them. And to date, we've given up to 85 grants that are totaling $1,642,200 US. So this only shows how DRF understands the importance of advancing the rights of persons with disabilities. So I would like to urge each one of you that is on this webinar today that we should continue raising this awareness, and let's work together to end the stigma that surrounds persons with epilepsy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. That was very informative and very educative. And I've actually learned a lot from there, and it's very wonderful to hear the kind of progress that you're making within your area and within areas around the world. And hopefully everyone else here has learned a thing or two, and that they'll be able to apply to their areas too. And to move on to the next person that is going to talk to us is Lazy. Lazy is going to tell us about an impact story. I'm not going to dive much into a story because I read it, one of the stories that were posted by Samuel in the group, and it's quite amazing, and it's something that I didn't even know existed during that time. And it's so nice to actually hear from somebody's lived experience, and I feel as if we're going to be motivated and we're actually going to have a mindset change, a mindset shift by a story. Leslie, Can you hear us, Lazy?
Yes, good afternoon. Hello.
Good
Thank you very,
afternoon,
very
Lazy.
much. How are you?
I'm good.
want to
Can you
thank-
take it away?
I want to thank Samuel Chigamba and Epilepsy Alliance Africa for inviting me as well this afternoon. I've had a long history with epilepsy. I've had epilepsy now for 49 years. I was born in the UK, but lived in Zimbabwe for about 46 years. I had a good education. I was a swimmer and a diver, and then unfortunately hit a diving board at the age of 14. At the age of 16, we think my seizure started from the injury to the head, also due to writing O-level exams, GCE, and then perhaps puberty, hormonal at the same time. I was very lucky. I had a supportive family. I'm sure many of you have read my story on the Stripes Week. It's lovely to read all your stories and to see how everyone is coping with their epilepsy. I also had a seizure driving. It's very important. If you do drive, please realize that you can have a seizure when you're driving. And that happened to me, and I haven't driven since the age of 17. I managed to get a good education. I did a secretarial diploma and then managed to find employment in a group of hotels. Unfortunately, in Zimbabwe, medication was short, and we had problems with a lot of crime, and due to cost of living, I had to make a move to South Africa. I managed to stay there for 14 years. And again, I was under a government hospital, which was very good. They gave me medication monthly, and I had permanent blood tests and was well looked after, although we did not have the equipment of MRIs or EEG machinery. I was not under a neurologist, so took my daily medication. At that stage, I was on carbamazepine, which worked, and phenytoin. Life in South Africa was very different, very difficult. I was not allowed to work. Coming from Zimbabwe, I was not allowed to, I was on a visa and I was not allowed to work, and I was waiting for an ID document, which took 5 years to come through. During that time, I approached Epilepsy South Africa and asked them if I could help them to do any administration work for them. I then got involved onto the EpiNews panel, which is a panel of members with epilepsy, and then we collect personal stories of people with epilepsy and do a biannual magazine. I'm not sure if anybody's seen or read EpiNews, but I still edit that today, and that's now 13 years ago. Unfortunately, in South Africa, again, medication was short, so I had to make a hard decision and come back to Northern Ireland, where I am now. It has been very difficult. I've been here now 5 years. I am now under a neurologist, but again, my seizures are not under control. I've been on 6 or 7 different medications. During that time in 2019, they discovered a brain aneurysm. So I had an operation in 2019, and the brain aneurysm, what they actually did was put a stent inside for the arteries, and I'm now on medication for that. They say that the procedures worked, and probably just go for another test, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time. That took me a long time to recover from. And since then, I've basically just been doing support, admin. I opened up my own page on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of people know it. It's called Epilepsy Motive Quotives. And it's a community page to support anyone with epilepsy. Doesn't matter where you come from, worldwide, you are very, very welcome to go to that page and communicate with the people and with me as well. I also do a lot of admin for epilepsy groups on Facebook. There are many, many, many epilepsy groups. People just have to contact me, find me on Facebook, and I can get people into our groups. And it does help, and it gets communication going with people to share their stories. I'm very, very proud of my life and how far I've come. And it has not been easy. It's not an easy life with epilepsy. But please remember, you have the epilepsy. Epilepsy does not have you. You must carry on life as normal. I take one day at a time. I've just had a couple of bad days of cluster seizures, and I'm still waiting for my neurologist appointment in October. Just want to congratulate everybody for coming out with their stories in your Stripes Week. I was very, very, I helped Samuel do some editing for the stories, and listening to other people and reading the stories in Africa, it brings back memories for me. And my endeavor is to support you all, take part in your meetings, and just be there for anybody that needs help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for that. As I always say, not everything in life happens to you, but it happens for you. I would wonder what life would be for me if it wasn't for epilepsy. It actually made me grow stronger. I lost a lot, yes, but I gained much more. And Leslie, I hope one day we'll be able to have some lunch. I'm in Scotland, in Edinburgh. I hope to meet you soon. Yes, I'm in Scotland, Edinburgh. I hope to actually meet and actually see each other soon. And that was very powerful and very inspiring. And I hope
you
we all learned something.
You must have seen my story on Epilepsy Scotland.
Oh, yes, I did. I actually wanted to discuss that later after we have finished all this.
Yes.
So.
No, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So the next thing on our agenda, is a presentation on risk factors of epilepsy in children with cerebral palsy. And this is for some, if you don't know, cerebral palsy and epilepsy, most people in Africa think that they are two different things. I myself have seen people struggle a lot, and our religion is, our culture is, and I'm very happy that this topic has come up and it's actually going to help us educate our communities on this different this taboo topic or the myths around cerebral palsy and epilepsy. So without any forgive me if I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, can Dr. Hassana Jibo Fatima, who is a neurologist, neurophysiologist, and epileptologist, to do a presentation. Is she online?
Sam?
Sam?
Do you have a online?
Yes, I'm checking. Sorry.
I'm also checking with you.
She's
I
not
don't
online.
think I see her.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. We can skip the next program online and have her present.
All right. So when she returns, or when she comes back online, we can go on with the presentation. And well, after her was me anyway, me, Tashinga, Alfred, and Bondiri. By the way, did I tell you tomorrow is my birthday, guys? Yeah, we are going to have a happy
No, I didn't hear
birthday
that.
songs. No, I'm saying, by the way, did I tell you tomorrow is my birthday? We are going to sing.
No, deliberately, I didn't hear that because I don't
Happy
listen.
birthday.
Uncle, wait. People, we are going to sing on top of
Tomorrow
our
is
voices.
also my birthday again. We share the same day.
Ah, wonderful.
Oh my. Oh my.
Uncle, I have a lot of twins. Twinny, thank you very much. He wanted to silence us. They'll never silence. And imagine, Uncle, he's a mental health counselor just like me, aren't you?
No,
Yes.
I agree with Bright. Bright has just said he's brilliant. He can't speak now. He has not enough airtime to speak. So he wants a birthday like me. You see? And now you can see my video's off. That's due to the lack of Malawi. The economy is just going downhill. I'm sorry. If you hear silence, the audio will soon follow. So we can, the rest of you can sing happy birthday to our two birthday boy and girl. Yes.
Brokenness and speech. I did not know brokenness and speech these days go along. So we're just going to have a little icebreaker so that we can absorb what was being talked about, and we can also just learn from each other. If anyone has a story that they want to share about their own personal experience with epilepsy, or their own views upon epilepsy, or what they feel should be done towards this topic of epilepsy, we can share them. If anyone want, you can show by the share or by showing a hand. Just tap the hand button. Wow. No one seems to want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about something that I
have a birthday message.
Well, yeah,
from the chat, there is a happy birthday from Proud. Abonili, if I have got that right. And happy birthday from me too in advance, while my audio is still available. Rosaline
Thank you so
has raised the hand.
Okay, Rosaline,
I think that we have a hand by Rosaline.
Yep, Rosaline, you can go ahead with the contribution.
Hi everybody. The story of epilepsy. I started having seizures as a baby, but my mom, who was a teacher, decided to take me to hospital. And when I was at the hospital, they also the symptoms were also displaying. I was having a seizure, but the doctor told my mother that wrote some medication, and I started taking medication. So as a baby, my life was taking medicine and also breastfeeding. But the seizures reduced considerably. And so when they reduced, the doctor recommended that I stop taking some medication. And after a few days after stopping to take the medication, the seizures came back. And this time I've enrolled in school in kindergarten. But when my teacher didn't know better, they thought this child must be unstable in the mind, crazy. So she was saying, keep this child at home. And also the children. So there was that stigma there because the children, when the teacher has told you, has said, avoid this child, she's crazy, then you kind of have a negative experience as a child. But we changed towns afterward, and when we changed towns and I left the school where the teacher was saying I'm crazy, when I went to another school, I continued with my education. I continued with my education, and this is one of the places I know I can relate to people who don't want to share that they are living with epilepsy, because they'll be labeled they are not, they are unstable, they are crazy. And so I can relate to that, because for so many years I couldn't tell, apart from the members of family who knew, and members of the extended family who knew that I'm living with epilepsy. The rest, most people did not know that I was living with epilepsy because my seizures were under control. But then somehow when you are going to college and somehow there was a case where I had a seizure when I was doing my kindergarten course as my certificate course, and the school where I had a seizure said that I cannot continue with my teaching practice there. So I can also relate to the marginalization owing to epilepsy. But today, after different experiences and different marginalization of epilepsy, people living with epilepsy, I say that people should not, that it's not something that people should hide. And that's why I came out in the open and told people, yes, I'm living with epilepsy, and people living with epilepsy can achieve different things, because they are going to the university, getting an undergraduate degree. I told them people living with epilepsy are not crazy, as most people assume that people living with epilepsy are crazy, or they are former drug addicts, or they are like that. And I showed them, no, you can live a normal life. So coming out in the open has really helped, and I hope to show others that, and show even parents that even if you had a child living with epilepsy, who has epilepsy, they can actually achieve their goals. So I've learned, I've shared that, I'm seeing families changing. I'm seeing the child that is locked inside the house, and nobody wants to, maybe the father does not want that child to come when the visitors are around. He's locked inside the house, away from other people. I'm seeing people are changing their mind, because at least for me, my family was very supportive, but it's not the same case for other people. So I'm here to tell somebody, to tell a neighbor, to talk to anyone, because most of the times I've talked to people about epilepsy, sharing my story about epilepsy, and I'm seeing somebody calling me and telling me, yeah, even me, I'm on this medication, and you get a shock. This is somebody you've known for so many years, and you get a shock. That's a neighbor. That's somebody who is a workmate, a former workmate. a business person with you. But because of how epilepsy has stigma, these people, they don't want to come out, but now they are telling you in secret and don't tell anybody. Yeah. So it's a surprising thing that there are many people living with epilepsy. And we are going through, we have our own charts where I'm showing them that as long as you are not able to accept that you are living with epilepsy, you will always feel marginalized, you will always have low self-esteem, and you will never go far because of how you view yourself. You're keeping a secret, and you may not achieve much because you are showing people that I have a secret. There's something that when people look at you, they see something that you are hiding, something which they cannot figure out what it is. So my coming out, I'm encouraging people to come out in the open and share their story, because that is what will make you accept yourself and even forge ahead in the fighting of this stigma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosaline. That is a very powerful message. Of course, epilepsy is not a hindrance, but there's one thing that people always forget actually is a hindrance for persons living with epilepsy, and it's their mental health. You know, when people ask me what mental health is anyone's state of mental, emotional well-being, and it affects their thoughts and behaviors. And epilepsy, from my own lived experience, has a way to cause depression, has a way to cause anxiety, causes so many different mental health problems, and people do not recognize them, maybe because of your age, maybe because of the culture, religion, or the fact that people just expect you to just accept what's going on around you, which is a topic for another day. However, epilepsy and mental health are two things that go hand in hand, and in as much as people try to ignore them, it is a topic and it's something that needs to be discussed, where a person with epilepsy needs to get their mental health plan. Without any further ado, we are going to present Bright. Bright has an amazing program that he created to help persons with epilepsy be able to monitor their seizures, be able to talk about, to fight against the myths, the stigmas concerning epilepsy, and also, what can I say? It's powerful, it's great, and it's something that I feel as if in the near future will actually help a lot of people. Lucy will get back to you after Bright's presentation, and you can have a platform. Bright, you can take it away.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Bright here. Yeah. An emphasis: still broke and still not buying birthday presents. It is an honor indeed to come here and speak and present this project before you and before everybody who is in attendance. Great indeed, an honor it is in mine. I'll rush straight into it, and most of the talking will be given there. Let me see if I can share the screen. I don't know if I have the screen sharing right. I don't know who's admin there. Okay, I think I do. All right. All righty. Let me get to it. Just a minute. All right, please let me know if you can see what is on the screen. All right, so this is the innovation that has been in the works for a while now. Since 2017, the works have been done. A lot of research has been done around this to try and create a solution that is aiding the constant struggles that people with epilepsy are facing on a day-to-day, and also to just aid somebody living with epilepsy to better manage their condition and better manage or better know how to really or afford them an opportunity to engage freely, knowing that some of the things that they may have been believing were actually just that, myths. And through this, we're hoping to teach those people with epilepsy, but not only them, but also the people around them, caregivers, give them a platform where they can learn certain things that they need to learn, but also just a knowledge enthusiast, also give them a platform where they can learn something about epilepsy. So my story is a simple one. The bright you see on the left there, or smiley, I think I still smile that way. You know, I knew nothing about epilepsy growing up. You know, I just heard about it from one person who I knew that was in high school, who had epilepsy. That was my first encounter with it, a person who used to fall. And in our local language, they gave it such a gruesome name that I always, you know, say whenever I get a chance to get on a stage. The name is quite gruesome. Obviously, you would expect that stigma is going to befall it. I mean, in our language, we call it chipumputu or kunyu. Those are other language, you know, names that you can refer to it. I mean, just hear how heavy those sound on your tongue. Chipumputu. You know, so I didn't know much about it until 2016 when I was diagnosed with or rather I started experiencing a bit of some seizures, which I didn't understand. Go to the hospital after a friend's encouragement to go there. And as I was struggling to explain what was happening to the doctor, I had a seizure right there in the seat. And again, the doctor didn't really do much in helping or aiding my understanding of what was happening, but they just handed me a prescription and said, go to the pharmacy and get this medication. I go there and I was still, you know, a bit, you know, struck. What was happening? What was going on? And stigma obviously followed while I was in school until one funny day I wake up from a seizure. You know, I was walking to a class, I get a seizure on the way or suffer a seizure on the way, and I wake up to an exorcism. Why? Because people believed largely that it was demon possession. I wake up to an exorcism, out in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, out, come out. And I'm like, okay, this is funny, you know, and it's from then that I decided to see what I can do about the ignorance of my fellows in university. And from there, you know, the various problems I identified were these. Ignorance was a massive contributor. 10 million plus Africans alone are people living with epilepsy. And these are statistics that are not even accurate. Why? Because we've got masses who are not actually stepping into the hospitals and registering themselves to say, I have epilepsy. And even though the number is this big and alarming, very little is known about epilepsy if you go around. I'm pretty sure from our various countries we're able to attest to this fact. And when we are talking about little being known about it, it also comes down to first aid. To a person who suffers a seizure in public, what can be done to this person? What can be done to aid them? Very little. And people living with epilepsy are therefore now deprived of certain things, education. Sometimes it's just the parents pulling the child away from school, saying out of love, I don't want my child to be stigmatized, so I won't let them go to a public place like that. Jobs, people are being fired every time. I'm a victim of that. Others are not being hired simply because they, you know, people have this weird notion that a person with epilepsy is a person who is down, they can't do anything. And so some people are deprived of jobs, and others, social engagements basically just die because others, out of stigmatization, they fear walking outside or engaging in any social activities because they're saying people will laugh at me or people will do this. Others are just thinking, what if I have a seizure in the road and something bad happens? And so such is done to them. And so the solution I created is Seizure Assistant, a small application which is basically just built to do the things highlighted there. One, it allows a person with epilepsy to be able to call for help in a moment that they need that help, in a moment that they're about to suffer a seizure. They can call for help. Two, it is a platform that also allows the right first aid to be provided to a person living with epilepsy in that moment that they are having a seizure, if they're using this platform. Three, it is also a platform that helps improve the quality of life for those who are living with epilepsy. Four, we can talk about how that the masses can learn about epilepsy through this platform, be it a caregiver or just those knowledge enthusiasts. they're able to learn about epilepsy via the various features that have been included on the application. And the question will be asked then, how does it work? How does a person living with epilepsy, call for help in a moment that they're suffering a seizure? Easy. The image to the left there highlights the main screen of the application, and the button that is circled red there is what is called the panic button. A shortcut for that button can be created on the home screen of the user's phone so that you don't have to always open the application to press it. Now, once that button is pressed, the things written above there happen. The application automatically sends an SMS to whoever has been set as an emergency contact. Prior to the latest iteration I have, the emergency contact would only be one, but now a person can add up to even 5 emergency contacts if you so wish. So they will all receive an SMS from the application saying, if it's me pushing that button, Bright has just suffered a seizure. And as the statement says there, a location will be added to it so that if they need to track me down, to find me, because some seizures come with post-ictal phases that are quite lengthy, and the person, goes in confusion for a while, and they will need to be tracked. Live location will be given, and they'll be able to track the person down via Google. 2, the screen in the middle there is what will be displayed while the user's phone is playing some SOS sound to get the attention of the people around. Say it's on the market that I fell and I push that button and there are people watching me. I'm fitting on the ground, but all of a sudden my phone starts making noise. They'll rush to it. When they rush to it, they'll find the third screen there, which is the about me screen or the SOS screen, which basically just displays the first aid details and SOS contact. First aid details will be laid down there and the person can follow those. Now, after I sit down with some neurologists here, I had to redesign this. So the new application, actually the new iteration comes with a redesign of this last screen here, because we want to create something that is more panicky in a way. This is too relaxed for something that needs urgent attention. And so when people pick up the phone, they'll be able to just follow the first aid instructions and give the right instruction, or rather the right aid to that person who's suffering a seizure. And one would ask, okay, what about that person who's unable to get an aura? That is where we're building the neurodetector. The device seen to the far left there is a neurodetector worn around the ear. Further iterations are going to have an actual earpiece to it, an actual earphone that goes to your ear, so that if your phone is 10 meters away and a seizure or a reminder comes up, you hear something to tell you to say, hey, there's a reminder on your phone about this. But anyway, this neurodetector is able to monitor the electric activity in the brain of a person so that when a seizure happens, it launches the panic attack. And those things I talked about happen. SMS is sent, sound is played, and the first aid instructions are shown. But if we're dealing with a child or somebody without a smartphone, that is where we see the smartwatch shown to the right there. For a child, we can't expect that children are going to be moving with smartphones to schools and all of that. To them, we give a smartphone and a neurodetector. When they wear this, they're able to work in sync, such that when the neurodetector senses the seizure, it sends a signal to the watch. The watch just displays the first aid instructions as seen there, and the emergency contact, and whoever is having that seizure will be attended to. And obviously the phone will be playing some SOS sound and be able to get the attention of the people around. I hope that one makes some sense there. Some people fail to follow this. I don't know where I get it wrong. But what are the opportunities that this technology offers? One thing I would say is it's health tech that we're bringing. The concept can be implemented to provide telehealth services to even other conditions, autism, ADHD, cerebral palsy, mental health, and other issues, to mention but a few. The way this application has been created is that it's been created with research by a person who's actually living the condition, and with the assistance of the people who actually have epilepsy. And so the many features that have been created seem to now coincide with others, as many doctors have stated. And so this kind of technology can actually be applied to other conditions. We just can't fuse them all into one application, but it's great research and it's actually beneficial. 2, data collection. Currently, the statistics that we have on epilepsy are quite low. I'll give an example of Zambia. We have statistics that go as far back as 2018, where we're being told about 800 or is it 8,000 or 800,000 people are living with epilepsy, but most of those are not even registered, or rather some are still not registered in our country, meaning the numbers are even far more, but people can't go to the hospitals because they're afraid. What did we do? Built a small USSD application that allows a person to register that they are living with epilepsy, regardless of where they are. They just dial a short code, *4949 *1#. Here in Zambia, that is working. We haven't implemented that in other countries, but locally, we can collect that information by, allowing a person to not have that stigma of, if I go to the clinic or the hospital, they will see that I have epilepsy. They can do that from their home, and all we have to do is just call them and verify that it's true they have the condition. Data collection can be done excellently, and data mining can be done. And once data is collected, that data can be, analyzed to retrieve a whole lot of trends, patterns, and create tailored solutions for people. What do I mean when I say this? One of the biggest challenges that we had about epilepsy in Zambia was that people were thinking we do not have medication for this. But is that true? Not really. Most cases, it just happens that whenever medication is brought into the country, we provide the kind of medicine that is needed to the wrong place. What I mean here is, say there's a clinic here in Lusaka, one area of Lusaka, where the most people who go there take carbamazepine more than, say, sodium valproate. It turns out that that clinic is being supplied with fewer tablets of carbamazepine instead of sodium valproate. And people go there and they're being told you don't have medicine, when in actual sense, it's just that carbamazepine is supplied in small quantities here, but in higher quantities where it's not needed. And so the medicine just ends up expiring in most cases. And so if we have data mining services, we can, get some of the best services ever. Data mapping is exactly what relates to data mining there. Who, what, where? Who takes what medicine? And where are they? If we know these questions, we are able to provide tailored solutions for the people taking these medications. Our traction so far has been great. People living with epilepsy have actually seen this as an innovation they ought to have. Parents, friends, and even partners to people who are living with epilepsy have seen the essence of this. Knowledge enthusiasts equally want to utilize such an application. We have international doctors and neurologists like Diana Saylor, Dr. Charles Bing, Dr. Nalucha and Zimba. These are the few I've interacted with, and they all love the innovation, and they're saying, let's put it out there. It's accepted. Currently, awards and recognitions and cohorts that we've been invited to are as listed. Golden Light Award, obviously, for the works being done here. Country Champion Award came just a few days ago, a week ago, inclusive assistance, and all those listed there by the various institutions. And obviously, even our very own EAA gave an award, for the innovation. And so it's been great traction, and people seem to see the light in this innovation. And the impact knowledge, people get to learn. There's right care being provided. Yes, when a person now gets a seizure and they fall to the ground, we know that if they're using this application, the right care will be provided. It's an inclusive solution. Companies will not only be firing people, why? They will know that all this stuff that they know about epilepsy, they are myths. Employers will know more about epilepsy through such platforms, and there'll be also motivation for people living with epilepsy. I've stood on stage and just said, I am an innovator, and the person living with epilepsy says, then I can do it too. My team has grown so far. We have a few advisors. I have a videographer who jumped on board and says, I'll be shooting your videos for free, don't pay me anything. And so the team keeps growing, and we're heading down the right path. And obviously, we intend to work with as many institutions as possible to hit the market and promote the application, not just in Zambia, but outside Zambia and even beyond the reaches of Africa. So this is the innovation that we have. We are just seeking support from all the institutions that we are affiliated to. And we are saying, help us to contribute to achieving an inclusive and assistive technological world and providing such solutions. And let us go fast. Let's think ahead together. Multiple features are on the application, and we shall highlight those when the day of launch definitely comes. But we have reminders for medicine. You have counselors on the application. You can find myths there. You can find reminders on the application. you can also join support groups on the application, as well as get tips and reminders for what you're doing. So that is Seizure Assistant, and we pray that when it is launched, definitely the support shall be there. Thank you so much.
Wow. Uncle Chuku, I think you need to take a phone for a minute whilst I try to absorb what just happened. Talks better than me.
Maybe we can just have a few minutes of questions on the Seizure Assistant. I mean, I'm one of those very passionate about this. And I keep telling Bright that we need this yesterday. I have a long list of friends and people that I know who should have been here, but could not just get the right help at the right time because there wasn't such an assistant. So maybe we can have some questions from people, comments.
I think before
I'm trying to learn that.
Yeah, before we actually do that, I think it's just important for us to just give a round of applause for Bright. He just did something quite amazing for everyone and for future generations, and he has to get that recognition. He deserves it more than anything else. I applaud you, Bright. Thank you so much for that. I applaud you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I still have shivers on my spine.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question, just to ask when it might come into being.
All right, so actually putting it on the market has been something that we could have done by now, but the hurdles that we've had have been financial. Sure. As you have noticed there, I don't know if I mentioned in my presentation that so far we've managed to land 2 grants. One from Google, that is after we won the Africa Assistive and Inclusive Award competition that was hosted by Enable Africa, Enable Kenya. Google gave an award, but that money has not touched us yet. Our local government equally gave a grant, and equally that money hasn't touched us yet. So we have made timelines based on promises we've been made, but since no money is actually touching our pockets or our wallets, it's really been a struggle. It's really been a struggle. It's really been a struggle, but we're hoping in the next month we can have something on the market. There's one feature that we were ironing out and trying to see how we can implement it in other countries. That is the meetups feature, where support groups can be hosted, and we found a way to do it. People from different countries will be registering to be administrators of those support groups. And the gentleman working on it just sent me a model. Saturday, we analyze that. Once that is done, we can bring it out and people start using it, minus the wearables, of course, for now.
Great. No, it's a good initiative. Well done. Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Anyone else with a question? Lucy, do you have a question now?
I've got a question for Bright.
Yes, sure.
So thank you very much, Bright. It's always wonderful to listen to your story and how you have developed this app. Well done. My question is about, of course, I'm futuristic. I'm sure the challenges you are facing now, you'll be able to overcome them now. What other areas do you think could be solved in the area of epilepsy by using technology or another app? What areas do you see as deserving another app in future? Those that you probably wish to work on, or that you'd want to inform others who might be able to work on them? That's my first question. Let me give the other one so that you can respond together. Any opportunities for having this app in local languages, or is there an option to translate? Those are my questions, Brian.
That's a good question.
All right, brilliant. So start with the last. Local languages and language translations, by incorporating Google libraries called localization, the application is able to actually detect where you are, and using the libraries that already exist and provided by Google, it can translate every word in the application into the native language in that area. So translation is something that Google has already solved. I'm just bringing in and saying, oh, let's do it. You know, so that's the beauty there. What areas in epilepsy can we use technology? What other areas can we use technology? I feel like counseling, the way I've implemented it right now is not to its fullest extent. Right now, a person is just able to find the counselors, but I feel like people are still very afraid to face a person and say, I need help, I need counseling, because in as much as people want to refuse, epilepsy comes with some counseling need at some point. But people are afraid of walking into an actual counselor's office and get that counseling, you know, and most of this is the one that we're now saying, can we try and incorporate it onto the platform where counseling can happen virtually on the platform that is just dedicated for epilepsy. And so we've started a small program around that where we're trying to train our own counselors. Another small discovery of mine, I'm forever discovering things. Most people feel comfortable being counseled by a person who has epilepsy. They feel they understand them better. I sent people to counselors and they came back to me and said, we want you to talk to us because you have epilepsy, you understand us better. So I'm thinking, So there are people who want a person with epilepsy to counsel them. And then there's the people who don't have jobs because they have epilepsy. Why not train the guys who have epilepsy and no job to become counselors and give them to these guys? So that's a program I'm running. And once that is done, incorporate those on the same platform and allow them to provide that virtual training. Anything else? We'll see. The research still goes. It doesn't stop now. My survey is still going on. Let me see what the people say from the surveys that I'm carrying out as we speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Bright.
You're most welcome, sir.
You know, that's very powerful that you say that people who have lived experience are the best counselors. I remember the first time when I discovered that I had severe depression from epilepsy. And when I went to talk to a counselor, they did not know what I was talking about whatsoever. I felt like I was talking to a wall and things were just being bounced back into me. And because they didn't understand how I felt, they didn't know how to handle my emotions. And ever since that day, I vowed that I was going to do something about it. And I started studying psychology and then went into counseling, neuropsychology and stuff. And I won't lie, ever since I've started that, my Facebook Messenger is always filled with people who are saying, can you help me? Not most people understand how it is to be in primary school, high school, and university with epilepsy, and wanting to hide that part of yourself from the world because you're afraid. I remember I never had friends at school. I'm a very outspoken person. I'll demand, okay, fine. I ended up having this song at school, Bostashi, because I would boss people to be my friend. Because if you didn't want to be my friend because of epilepsy, oh, you're going to be my friend. No lie, you're going to be my friend. So it was because I wanted people to just fight against the stigma and discrimination that persons with epilepsy would face in primary school. Because I had a lot of friends who were like that. So I know how it is when I talk to it, like, especially when it comes to education. I never sat down to write an examination. I think the only examinations I ever wrote in my life were national examinations or university. Like, I'm starting to actually go properly to school right now. And when you try to talk to a primary school kid that is facing epilepsy, as I said, mental health problems and epilepsy do go hand in hand. The pressures from exams somehow make your seizures worse. And when that happens, people now start saying, oh, he or she is trying to get attention, or he or she doesn't want to go to school and stuff, but they don't realize that there's a relation between those two. And when you don't have a person to talk it out, and especially a person that understands what you're talking about, you feel like an alien. You feel as if, I'm proud that I can say that I've been able to help a lot of people with epilepsy. through their mental health problems, but it's still something that we really need to fight through. And I am very appreciative that you are making that initiative. And I've never even thought about it, that making persons with epilepsy counselors, that has never crossed my mind. You have an amazing team, and may you please keep growing and keep doing what you're doing, because you're going to make a lot of lives, generations and generations to come, better. Anyone with
Thank you so
with
much.
other questions? Lucy, I see that you say that you have a comment. You can go ahead and give us your comment, a contribution. Lucy.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh, hello. Thank you very much, Tashinga. First, I would want to congratulate Bright for the great innovation. And that's very, very great. And I was just thinking to say, won't this application, stroke technology, be of also help to at least the prevention of, say for those who do have seizures during sleep, because like for example, we have lost a number of clients who maybe had been well controlled, their seizures well controlled, but then the next morning you hear they are dead because they had a seizure during sleep. And from the look of things, I think that this application, the technology, I think it can be used with someone who's fully awake, but then I think, I don't know how that can be done to say at least it should be, signals can be given even to somebody who is asleep and then is not able to communicate to people, because it's really pathetic. Yeah, so the other, what I wanted to share was, first, I'm from Malawi and I work at Gamu Central Hospital Epilepsy Clinic. I trained as an epilepsy nurse initially in the year 2000 and then in 2003 in the UK. Since then, I've been running the epilepsy clinic up to now. And then later on, I did my BSc in mental health psychiatric nursing here in Malawi. So I just want to appreciate, especially with the mental health psychiatric nursing background, it's when I really appreciated the significance of mental health, taking mental health issues in epilepsy. And as I'm talking for now, at least since a few years ago, in our clinic, we now do have psychosocial counselors, and they are doing great work. Of course, initially, maybe which could also be the same in other places, epilepsy was being taken care of by psychiatric nurses, and I think you admit that even as many people say, in almost every psychiatric clinic, where they are also attending epilepsy patients, they said that there are a lot more people or clients with epilepsy than those with mental health problems. But then you find that the management of epilepsy is so poor because so many people, so many health personnel are not so much aware of how to manage epilepsy. So it's good that this time now we are talking of issues of advocacy, especially right from the people who have epilepsy. I think I should encourage you people to talk a lot, to talk loud, because it's with your loudness, with the loud voices, people will be able to understand, to say, well, to dispel the issues of stigma, and then see you need to go to contribute to your care, and that will even help us to see, to assess where the need are. In our clinic, we have a support group of clients and the guardians. It has been there since 2007, and they've really been of help, because what they do is, of course, they meet on the first Tuesday of every month. They do have like peer education, and we always refer the nurses, the clinicians in the clinic would always refer someone who maybe looks like has got some issues. We do counsel them and then also refer them to support group to mix with people. And with the peer education from their from their colleagues, people have really improved even in their relationships in the families. And the support group members even go to the extent that if they find that there's an issue in the person's family at home, they even make home visit out of their own. It's voluntary and they are not paid. Nobody, in fact, we don't have any external support anyway. But then what I want to say also is that looking at epilepsy is beyond asking somebody how many seizures have you had, because as somebody was saying, to say people do not trust, would not want to just be cancelled by anyone or just a health personnel because he is there. One thing I've noticed is that it takes maybe 3 or 4 visits for somebody to trust you and be open to open up. And then it's when you realize that people have issues or what are their potentials. But what I would want to say in essence is there's really a need that those healthcare workers who are assisting people with epilepsy should have some background or some orientation in mental health issues, identification of what depression and anxiety and any other related issues. But on the other hand, the advocacy and even the support that you people are doing is really very commendable. I think we need to move faster, because yes, you have started, but then the work is there, and I appreciate the work Sam is doing here in Malawi, and of course with the whole team down there. I think we have lots of work to do, but I think congratulations. Thank you.
Well,
Hello.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so powerful to hear from a person who is a carer in the field and who's actually monitoring these kind of situations. And I guess who actually give a lot from you and see to it that we actually learn about other. When I always say two heads are better than one, we can actually learn from you about what other people are facing. I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I can tell you about what people in Zimbabwe are facing when it comes to mental health and epilepsy. I remember the first time I said to a certain person, I'm a mental health advocate and an epilepsy advocate. And they were like, those two don't mix. And then in my head, I was calculating how don't those two mix? Because yes, the other is a neurological condition, the other one is a mental problem. But one of each affects the other, and the mental part affects epilepsy a lot more than anything. There's nothing worse than feeling alone. In as much as you have the support of your family, friends, and stuff, they do not understand what you're going through. Sometimes, no lying, I know it's kind of selfish to say this, but I wish epilepsy was given the recognition that cancer is given, because it's a problem that it's a situation that is so tough to deal with, and you have to deal with it regularly. You don't know when you're going to die. Unfortunately, you do not know what you're going to die. You don't know what's going to happen to you. And most of the time you're suicidal because you want the pain to end. And like other diseases, when you're told, oh, in 3 months, we might not have you. You now have to fight or what, but you never know if you're supposed to fight or not. And it's really a tough situation. And thank you so much, Lucy, for those words. And I hope everyone has learned a thing or two from you. And this is a learning space, guys. We're supposed to learn from each other. We're supposed to teach each other. I'm going to call you Aunt Lucy. Has actually taught us a lot, and we hope to learn more from you. And it's really powerful that you recognized how mental health is very important to persons with epilepsy. I applaud you for that. And don't worry about the voice, Aunt Lucy. Oh, I have a voice. Though I will talk, ask everyone here. I will talk for everyone. I will be screaming from the top of Mount Everest if I have to. They will listen to me. They will listen.
Please.
Uncle, don't.
You've told the wrong
don't.
person. I'm so sorry. Greatest apology to everyone. Tashinga has been given a certificate to speak. We shall see how to handle that. But yeah, you have a certificate to speak. And I think I do notice that Fatimata is now online, our neurologist. Are you ready to do your presentation? Before we go to the next, before we go to Chantal, who's going to present after you.
Bright had risen his hand. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
No,
there's just a small. Yeah, I raised the hand, but Tashi was talking and talking and talking and yeah.
As usual.
But yeah, it was just to address that one thing that was being mentioned. How do we handle those people having a seizure in their sleep? The neural band can be worn by somebody around their ear so that even as they're sleeping, it's still doing the constant monitoring of the seizure, even in their sleep. We're trying to create something very, very comfortable such that even in your sleep, you can wear it. And if a seizure happens, somebody's sleeping, you're in the same room. I've heard stories of a person dying just next door when there was a person next door. But with that, we're able to, counter such extremes just by having that. The other feature I didn't mention is that you have a chat platform where you can talk and talk and talk and talk. Tashi will enjoy this. Others who are shy will talk anonymously if they so wish, but you get the help that you need. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, people, and we'll have to stop right there for a minute before we go along, because I see that Dr. Fatimata is now online. Doctor, are you ready for your presentation?
Yeah, I'm ready, but I can just speak about my story. So there's no need of presenting. I'll briefly speak about my story. Is what you asked about. Because I got the agenda yesterday. So. Okay.
You can go ahead, Chantal.
You can go ahead,
okay.
Chantal.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm just here to support the Strip Week, and I'm also a victim of epilepsy since age of 11. And it come like an absence later on, go to identify it as a tonic partial seizures. So I've been failing on the ground 4 times a week. I could not even go sometime to school. It was very difficult, and I was even dismissed to school at my A-level examination. But at the end, I finalized, I found the doctors who found my cause and treat it. And that was the beginning of my journey to come out of the stigma and get confidence to work and then to continue my studies abroad. So for me, what I say to myself, okay, after fighting epilepsy for almost 11 years, I push myself to find why other people, they want seizures are not controlled as mine, and how to help my society, my Rwandan society, because I were living abroad. And then I created the organization, the Global Epilepsy Connection, and later on we fought for the right cause of the patient. We get some stakeholder to finance the program, the Humanity Inclusion in other countries, they call them Handicap International. The Red Cross also was part of it. In some events, applied to raise the Purple Days in the country. And I came to a point where it was the first time I met with Dr. Jacob Gambate in Thailand, in Bangkok, in the conference of the International Bureau of Epilepsy. Then the idea came on all together after that conference that we need to create the Epilepsy Alliance Africa, because we tried to raise a voice, but we could not find the help and how to get out of the stigma, the financial problem. As the way you see, the idea of Bright is a very bright idea, as its name say, but sometimes to get found is not easy for many of our projects. Then we said to ourselves, we need to we need to create such synergy of sharing idea. And then for that, we call upon the League of Doctors and Nurse and Association in Africa. And now we have this Alliance of Africa for 3 years. I may congratulate the president of the Alliance of Africa, Taura, and others members who contributed so far to this development. But I knew that so far, what we are doing now, because here in UK now, I'm in UK at the moment, we are organizing how to help the strip week next year and help the youth to have fund from the Foreign Affairs, the High Commission in UK, which represent a country, Ethiopia, Gambia, and Rwanda. But everyone is keen to finance who he thinks is able to deliver the great job. For example, if I'm choosing to finance Bright and Chigamba and Samuel, the secretary, then I may choose to finance them or Aslek, etc. That is the aim. But at the beginning, it is very hard. But my aim is to say that stigma still exists in Africa. We have a lot to do together, and we need to stick together and help each other. Many average people do not understand epilepsy and the stigma attached to the epilepsy. And the stigma attached to the epilepsy is very high. And even on intellectual property, sometimes you get played the silver bullet. For example, Bright can create this brand, but later on, we don't find the name of Bright Ngwaya as a founder of this, and people rob his idea. And that's why you see there is a delay on the way to finance those projects for us. So let me conclude and tell you that I'm very happy with everything you'll be doing. And as so far, I think that we share the same experience. The stigmatization is very huge in Africa. The exclusion of children from school is very huge, and we need to work together and advance this cause and make things happening to everyone in the corner of the continent. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Hello.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Chantel, for
you.
that. Yes, Uncle, you can take it over.
No, I was just saying thank you. And I think I do see our president. I think he's still connected. Yes, he's there. Do we give him to say a few words, or we can keep him at the end?
I think we can keep him at the end. And then Dr. Fatima
But I
is
don't see
doing.
Dr. Fatima again. She's dropped, the call has dropped again. I think she is facing some technical
Network
issues.
censure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think you can have the platform. Mr. Kajiti.
Go ahead, give the platform to our president.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
Hello, Mr. President.
I'm fine, how are you? Mr.
We are great, and how are you?
Wonderful, you can hear, hear me loud and clear.
My name right, it's something like that.
Well, I think practice makes perfect. Eh?
Definitely, definitely.
Yes, my sincere apologies for logging in late. We're having a bit of challenge with regards to electricity. There's a bit of load shedding, so when power is out, internet connection is a bit challenging. But nevertheless, may I express my sincere gratitude to all the people that have been posting in commemorating the zebra stripes and making epilepsy awareness more visible and more sound to all the corners of our continent. And it looks like from every year we continue to have more people, more, more discussions that are coming out in terms of epilepsy management and treatment. And I'm happy that there will be something in Rwanda, which is quite, amazing. And I sincerely hope that it will cascade to all the parts or in all the African continents where we have, epilepsy nurses, so that we try to reduce the burden of epilepsy in Africa. And again, I want to wish all the people that participated, just to congratulate them, a job well done. This is not easy. We know that it takes a bit of time to organize. It takes a bit of time, even just to write a small, story about yourself or your experience. It's not easy. But over and above, we've managed to write and post articles. So I want to challenge, the participants here present and beyond that. The whole idea is to create a lot of awareness, around our various space in which we occupy, so that epilepsy becomes a talking point. It becomes a demystified condition where people can go and get medical support or whatever the case that might be. And it's also a platform where we can raise advocates to our politicians, to the Ministry of Health and other relevant institutions to prioritize epilepsy. Access of free and cheap medication in our respective countries is paramount important. The difference between me and a person who has a disability, physical disability, is that they use a wheelchair, but I use the medication to make sure that I can function in an environment that is inclusive and holistic, and be able to participate meaningfully. And let me also challenge you. Is my time up?
You may go ahead. No, your
Okay.
time is not up.
Yeah, let me challenge the youth that this is the time in which you need to claim your space in the various spheres of leadership in our respective countries, in our respective organizations, and champion the cause for epilepsy. For as long as we do not demand and claim that space, we will continue to be at the back of the list, or we are an afterthought after a lot of other things that have been taken. If you look at research, I can talk of Zimbabwe. In terms of conditions, epilepsy is either number one, depending where you're coming from, either number one or number two, when it comes to statistics in the Ministry of Health. Therefore, it means that it requires more attention and more support and further funding, so that we make sure that we have the requisite doctors, we have the requisite equipment, we have even nurses and the so much needed medication. Like what the Honorary Treasurer highlighted, a lot of kids tend to drop out because of the continued seizures, which really is a pity. We could have the next business persons, advocates, lawyers, nurses, and so forth. But we are losing out because we are not able to control seizures due to lack of medication in our clinics. So I think it's also upon us that we take this fight to another level, where we want to claim our space within the spheres of influence, be it at community level, at provincial level, national level, or wherever the case might be. Epilepsy cause or champions should be heard and talked about. So in line with the theme in which we want to create awareness and increase the number of people in support of epilepsy, and in particular persons with epilepsy. So without much further ado, let me thank all of you, the organizers, Our Secretary General has been at it for now. I think this is the second or if not third year with the Zebra Stripes. And your team to say thank you, and to you, Master of Ceremony, and to all the organizers of this Tashinga and company. If I've missed your name, my apologies, but thank you all the same.
Thank you
Hello?
very much, Mr. Gaziti. Wait, we can hear you. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that, and I appreciate the recognition. It wasn't easy, but we managed to do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have come to the end of our program, and it has been quite effective. I think we have done what we needed to do, and we've spoken about what we wanted to speak about. And I hope that this is not going to be this is going to be the start of many of these kind of webinars, Indabas, and next time it will expand internationally. And Uncle, do you have anything that you want to add on?
I always do, and actually you skipped me. I was on the program, but better late than never. Apologies from Malawi. We are also experiencing some power cuts, so you may not be able to see me as well, and the internet is erratic. I think just to add on what the president said, firstly is to thank everybody who's attended this session. I was your chair for this year. It wasn't an easy job. It was a lot of time that we had to sacrifice. And I think at the end of the day, we all agree that we are trying to preach that though we may have epilepsy, we're people with epilepsy, but epilepsy will not be a hindrance in our lives. And we are pledging for the sake of ourselves and many others alike out there, both in Africa and the world at large, to say that we'll advocate, we'll speak where we need to speak, we'll fight where we have to fight, to make sure that persons with epilepsy have access to medication, have access to healthcare, are not stigmatized, and are able to live a life, I don't know if the right word could be saying normal, but a life that they can be proud of, and their families, for a better life, for a better Africa, for a better world. With all that said, I would like to say thank you again. Next year's coming. We'll see how it will roll out. We don't know about tomorrow, but we do know that we'll advocate for epilepsy for as long as we breathe. Thank you very much.
So can I ask you a
Back to you,
question?
my host.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
I
please.
saw on the message, Abdullah and also some new member. They can introduce themselves because this is the one opportunity. I
Yes,
think,
actually, we can do that.
yeah,
We can do that indeed.
Yeah. Is online, Abdullah?
Yes, hello everyone.
Yeah. Okay, we
Yes,
saw your shining face. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
thank you, thank you. I'm Abdullah Koli from the Gambia.
From
Yes,
Gambia.
and then yes, Gambia, yes. And then I'm grateful to be part of the session. And then I don't have much more to say because I'm not an health practitioner, but a patient. And then I've been experiencing this epilepsy for almost about 15 years now. And then I don't know what else. I feel shy to explain everything to you guys, but I guess you all understand. Yes. So yes. So, but I'm a father of two, and then I'm 35 years. Yeah. So, but this epilepsy now it has been now 7 to 8 years now since I experienced my seizures due to the drugs I'm using, carbamazepine. Yeah, so, and then I've been using it, but before that, it started during my school days, at junior school to high school, and then to my working place. I usually have my seizures each month, I can say 2 times each month. So Then from there, I was introduced to our general hospitals to go there and then see the doctors and then explain myself to them. So that's how I went on, and then that's how it started. So the doctor checked everything, and then I was prescribed this carbamazepine to be using it. So for that, until then, I have not been experiencing any seizures or any attack due to this carbamazepine I've been using, and I'm still using it, just up till now. But I can say that that's a big blow to epilepsy. I can say, yeah. So I guess that's all I can say for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And also, we have the last person is George Selo. George is there.
Yes, I'm here.
You are there, yeah. Can you present yourself? You can put also the video. We don't have to hide ourselves.
My camera is not too correct. That's why I can show myself.
Okay, everyone will send his email to us, then we'll keep in touch on the group of the Alliance Africa. Yeah.
Okay, I'll text my email to the.
Yeah, please speak about your experience.
Yes, I'm George Salu from Liberia. I'm not a health practitioner, but I live with people who have seizure. And even though at the time I was coming up, I never had an idea of a seizure, but I've been seeing some awareness, which gave me idea and stuff like that. I just want to appreciate you guys from EAA for this the webinar and stuff, and wish we can link up more and more, like to give up more idea who we're not in the health field to share the message with our fellow compatriot about this disease. So I appreciate you guys for the opportunity, and I will share my email in the group, in the chat. Thanks once more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you again to everyone. And now, Tashinga, do you have any last words?
Yeah, I thanks all of you, and I appreciate the Youth League of Indaba Voice of Africa, because this is a Pan-African movement. Now Africa is waking up for the revolution to make all people stick together and share information. So everyone who has a task force in his country to promote Bratubwaya technology can always inform him what he can add on his value. For example, for the group of awareness, stigma, if someone has something to add on, he can always come to us and share his idea. The platform is open, and all of you may become the next leader of the Epilepsy Alliance Africa. I understand now, as we are old, we are above 40, some of us, and we need the next youth leaders to take over opposition in maybe 6 years or 5 years, and then carry on. Yeah, thank you for all of you. Thank you for your time and your compassion to our people suffering for epilepsy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Chantal.
I see a hand.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Gadziti, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you. It's something that I think forgot in my presentation. I think one of the key key players in terms of raising awareness is the media. May I suggest to all players that if they are able to visit our YouTube, our Instagram, because of late I saw the numbers are quite low. But the more you like or comment on any of the posts made by the Alliance, it creates awareness. It even informs others of what you have just said or commented with regards to what the alliance. So this is the whole gist, the whole idea of these webinars and the zebra stripes, and in line with the theme of creating awareness. Let's post something and we all like, and also share to other groups, because we have other people who are not able, privileged to participate in these webinars. But I know that they are normally either on their Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram, or Facebook. So I just wanted to encourage participants to visit all our handles, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, thank you. That's what I just wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kadjeti, for that. Yeah, as you have all had, if you get in contact with me, I've shared my contact in the chat box, and I can give you the links. Unfortunately, I didn't have them close by, so I'll just send you to them. And please also follow my pages, Tash Alfreda. I'm actually conducting, I'm trying to promote epilepsy awareness in the World Mental Health Federation, and I've been selected to be part of the Global Volunteers Group under project management. And if you can then share, if I can post something and you guys can share to your other media links and stuff, it can actually help me be able to actually attract the right attention and to be able to promote it into various sections of the world. I will type that in the message box. If anyone else has anything that they want to say, or thank, or recognize, or contribute, this is your platform. Or if you want to introduce yourself, if a few people need to know you before we close up the meeting. Is there anyone?
Yes, hi, hello. Okay, so my name is Billy Kamara. Shall I go ahead? I'm hearing some echo in the background.
No, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Billy Kamara. I'm from Nairobi in Kenya. I am epileptic, and I do also have another form of disability as a result of cancer. As a cancer survivor and as someone living with epilepsy, I do have various expectations, and that's one of which I came with to attend today's event, and that's the expectation of survivorship, understanding how to live with epilepsy. I think what we can learn from being together is, number one, how to be emotionally empowered and stand strong as a unit, because all of us here have lived experience. There are those of us who are here in the capacity of people who are living with epilepsy, others as caregivers, etc. I'm also thinking in terms of learning how to encourage each other through active listening, as we are doing over here on this platform, and also acknowledging the issue of vulnerability. Vulnerability provides a sense of mental relief when we can come here, you can speak, and you can have other people who have walked the same path with you, people who are empathetic to what you're going through. It really helps one. Obviously, each and every day we have to deal with the castigation. We have to deal with the social forces of resistance, what we call belief, cultural differences, misunderstanding of what we're going through as a people. It's not easy. There's obviously so many do's and don'ts that come to mind, some of which I'm glad that were covered here today. I would like to add to that the whole issue that if you're dealing with someone who has walked this path with us, another person who's living with epilepsy, it means a lot when you can let them confide in you. It means a lot when they can build trust in you. It means a lot when you can have that positive body language, when there's all that ambience, etc. For me, there's also a sense of confidentiality that comes with it when we meet here as part of the EAA. It's an escape from that stigmatization in the general society. So yeah, I think I'll just limit myself to that right here. One thing I would like to maybe caution us as we go through is that as we are out there in our capacity as advocates for epilepsy, we should be cautious not to overshare, because then that might lead to a hangover, where you feel, well, did I reveal too much about myself with regard to this? Did I say maybe something that I was not that well informed about? So it's always nice to show some form of restraint as you send out, your IECs, your information for educational purposes, the communication platform that you're using, etc. Just keep that in mind. Use the best judgment that you can out there, because remember that if you do make a negative impact, if you do give a bad impression, then it tends to reflect on the general community of your colleagues over here. So yes, thank you so much. And I'm glad to have attended this forum here today. Thank you.
Powerful,
Thank you.
powerful, powerful. Thank you.
All right, guys, this has come to the end of our meeting. I hope to meet you again the next meeting. We'll keep informed about what the next day, the next Indaba, and hopefully next time we have a host country. Please, guys, let's try to unite and contribute and actually share ideas when we are asked to step up, and so that it can be easier for the organizing teams to actually come out with the event program and to come up with the program. All right, everyone, goodbye. Thank you so much and see you next time.
Thank you, Jambo.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, Sikomo Kwambili.
Zikomo kwambili. Maita bwino, maita
Taonga
bwanji.
chomeni. Aribo, arirai.
Yeah, iribo. See.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. It's nice to hear everybody's
Most
stories and
welcome,
also
most
to meet you
welcome.
all.
But it should be good to put a picture, then you can share it on the newsletter. Yeah.
Which picture?
Yeah, for the newsletter of Script Week.
It's fine, Chantal.
Oh,
We
you're
can just
saying
take
that
it
people
through.
could switch on their cameras for
If
picture.
they can turn on the camera just for 1 minute, you put a picture, then you made it the great news.
Many people have
So-
logged out now.
So can you
people have
count
already
us down so that we switch off and switch on and switch off the cameras?
I have taken some screenshots already, so maybe I can just share those.
Okay, you have already taken for all of them. Okay.
Yeah, I've taken some screenshots, so at least they'll
Yeah,
have
okay.
all the people present. Don't know which will be there, but at least
And the president,
the
please,
application
you need to
of-
be shown. Why, Leslie? Is a miss? Is
Now I
a
can't be seen
president?
because I'm in darkness.
We need him.
The picture.
He has to be there.
Bye-bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
you see
Have a nice
the,
day.
So someone
yeah, that's good. Thank you, President.
Thank you. It's been a while. Wonderful to hear voices. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Janet, can you hear us? Bright, bye.
Tashinga, why are you still here?
Because I was the host. I'm the last one to leave. I was the one who was handling people.
Tashinga.
Yes.
Happy birthday,
Yes,
Tashinga.
uncle. Thank you.
How do you support?
Thank you. Uncle, I'm
Happy
exhausted.
birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Recording.
I'm exhausted. What?
How do you say recording?
I don't want to stop. I was afraid if I drop and then to stop recording and we'll lose everything.
I'm going to stop. The public recording is ready.
If I say stop recording, would it be saved to the cloud?
Yes, automatically.
What?